Sequels, they're never as good as the original, and in this case the original was gash, so perhaps look upon this video of day 2 of our Manor House refurbishment more as a Jaws for the revenge to what was already a Jaws 3D from a couple of weeks ago. And I'm sorry it's taken this long to get this one uploaded. I think you'll find it hasn't been worth the wait either. But in our last video we were tracing which circuits did what on an unfamiliar installation, and we started tracing and testing DB2, an old rewirable fuse box. In this one we'll be taking a closer look, albeit briefly, at DB3, a mid-noughties Hager board, and at DB1, a more modern Denman's affair which someone has somewhat bizarrely spunked onto the wall at the source of the installation. We'll also be recommissioning a socket outlet at the client's request, so do grip your buttocks and strap yourselves in for what promises to be a wild ride there. Day 2, we are back and finishing off that old boy board we were on. We've still got to do the Hager board. We've had our Greg's coffee, so we're hard for it, aren't we, Nige?
Oh yeah, positively semi-rigid.
So we're just having a closer look at the accessories on this lighting circuit. Nige has got what appears to be a class 1 fitting there. It's an antique brass. Oh,
obviously it's
there's no earth. I suppose it's earth from the knockout box, though, isn't it? It's not like there's no earth there at all.
yeah, but it's not earthed on this. It's only earthed when it's screwed to the wall.
Yeah, I'd have put the earth onto the accessory myself. There and screw in that.
Yeah.
We'll test that the earth is working. We might just move that over from the box to the accessory.
Yeah.
We'll have a peek behind here as well.
We go over there.
Doesn't look particularly. Is that a bathroom light? I suppose it's.
Looking at the light.
I mean, it's IP44, so it does look like it perhaps is made for a bathroom. That's a chunk of metal on the ceiling though. We're going to make sure it's oithed.
Alright.
What have we got here, Martian? It's another light that claims to be double insulated, installed in a way that makes it not double insulated. We keep finding these, don't we? And it's a pain in the arse. We've already moaned about this on this video. But these wires are single insulated. So long as you've got single insulation inside this enclosure, it doesn't meet the requirements for double insulation. If there's a breakdown of insulation on this wire here and it touches this metalwork, the fucker goes live. So all this is supposed to be contained within another layer of insulation, and all this, and this is why it's such a problem, because it's difficult to do that. They don't give you any space in there to accommodate the kind of connectors you need to use. I don't know why lighting manufacturers, as we've already said, why they do this. Why, if they're making a metal fitting, they don't just give you a fucking earth terminal on it. It's time to take a close look at the Hager board, which we are going to christen as DB3. I've made a little 3 label. It's nice, isn't it, Nige? It's in corporate colours and everything.
Orange.
Indeed so. So let's have a closer look at what's going on here. Now this, we found yesterday was an odd arrangement, because this annex part of the house and the room below was rented out, we think, and metered separately, or so we thought, but it turns out that half the room is off the other board and half the room is off this board. So I don't really see what the point of the metering was, because only half of the rented space was ever metered from the other meter. So that's weird, isn't it, Nige?
It is. Nice and cheap for the occupant.
Yeah, you'd have thought that the homeowner would have screwed who they were renting rather than the other way around. But anyway, we think also, although we have a kitchen in the room downstairs, which is being supplied by this cooker circuit, although the sockets are off the other board, we think there used to be a kitchenette here in this room. You can see patches of where the crappy old carpet, there used to be something here, obviously. You can see by the notches in the skirting and the patching on the carpet that there were units either side, and there is a circuit on this board labelled as kitchen sockets, which we think serve only these 2 Patras outlets. So we think there was a kitchenette here, and that's the sockets that were serving them. But it's all a bit odd, really, isn't it? But we've got 5 circuits here shower, cooker, kitchen sockets, towel rail, lighting. So this should be a bit more straightforward than the other board. We've already found where everything goes, so we don't need to run around doing a load of mapping about. Oh, my phone's ringing. Don't know who that is. Fuck 'em. We've already done the mapping out, so we know where everything goes, and it all looks pretty straightforward. We know that the tails from this board are split from the incomer at the last board, so we should have a voltage going in, as indeed we do. And with this main switch off, there should be bugger all coming out. As indeed there is, or isn't. Let's just reprove the tie known good supply. So we ought to be safe to work on this. Again, I'm not going to lock off, there's only Nige and I here. In terms of installation, I think I said yesterday it was probably a 90s board. I think it's perhaps later than that, because it's got the grey breakers. Hager were black in the 90s, weren't they? So maybe this dates to the noughties. Now, leave me alone. Like everything else here, not the mark of a professional, not the mark of professional workmanship, is it? It's just a bit scrappy. Also, a couple of screws missing, which is interesting.
Well, when you need a spare, take it with you.
No sign of any overheat. We've got one circuit per breaker. This looks like a ring, and again, that's always, in my opinion, the sign of a bit of a funny installer. We don't tend to install rings, and if we were going to put in a circuit that was serving only 2 outlets, why would you ring it? Why would you go to the effort? It's just like when we see places that have 16 amp breakers that are still ringed. Some people have the mentality that socket circuits have to be ringed. Of course they don't have to be ringed, and there's no need for it here, but there you are. Everything's on an RCD, so that's something, I guess. So we've safely isolated it. What we're going to do next is get our ZS at DB and our fault current. So let's do that. First of all, I'm going to find out who's just left me a voicemail. So we're on a PME here. I'm going to take our ZS at DB, which we did already done previously on DB2. Now again, this is DB3, this is the end of the chain. The feed comes into DB1, it bounces off to via a 63 amp breaker to DB2, and then it bounces off the tails coming into that, into here. I think we had 0.46 or something at DB2. So we're expecting it to be a bit higher here because we're at the very end. Loop, no RCD, 244 volts, oops, sorry. .45, I can't remember what we had yesterday on the other one. Let's have a look. Again, all these stupid forms, there's nowhere to record it. Oh, yeah, we had 0.46 yesterday, we're getting 0.45 at this one. I'd have thought it'd be a little bit higher, but it is what it is. 1.450, I'm not going to make a comment on that because there's no field for it. And the fault current is 517 amps. So, it's just a case now of playing the old fill in the blanks game once again for this board.
Fault current is taken when the earth's back in.
Yes, this is true. I've recorded the fault current of the earth, but we want it with all a parallel path in, really, don't we? Good point, Nigel. Thanks for that. Thanks for making me look like a twat. Ooh. Sounds a bit Space Invaders, doesn't it? 533 amps. Respective short circuit current. $486.
Okay.
Look, I haven't got my GS38 ends on, you see. It's very hard, isn't it? You're trying to fucking show everything as being all compliant and testing and everything, and then every step you look at, you think, oh shit, I haven't done that. To be honest, I find the GS38 ends get in the way too much, and I leave them off. And yes, that's naughty. Don't do what I do, kids. Do it properly.
Well, one day I'm going to film you dying, and then I'll turn the camera to me and I'll say, see?
Well, then I won't have to do any of this shit anymore, won't I? Right, let's start.
That'd be a good shot as it goes, you twitching in the background.
Shall I just fucking do it? Ready? Let's start testing these circuits. While Nige is prattling around on the lighting circuit off this Hager board, I'm taking a peek at the standard of downlight fittings that have gone in here, and like everything else, it's all on the cheap and it's all on the nasty. We have these horrible little tin things that again, it's bullshit claims of double insulation, and they give you this wanky little connector block here that isn't suitable to fit two twin and earths in. So what do installers do? They, well, if they're not bothered to put on an external junction box like we would, or to replace that connector block entirely with something a bit more fit for purpose, then they do this. So you can see that the earths have all been chopped out. There's no CPC continuity going through these cables. The single insulation is on the clamp and being bitten into, and the outer insulation is not going into the connection housing. So that's a load of shit. It's all new colours, all this stuff on the Hager board. There's no two colours label anywhere in the installation, so we'll have to print one out on the Brother label printer in a moment and stick one somewhere at the source. But it's fortunate that all of this is probably going to get ripped out. I mean, we want to know what state things are in at the moment, because it could be some time before building work actually commences. But it's all a bit on the dreadful, isn't it, Nige? Oops, dropped my TIS. Right, as I say, there's two colours in use on this installation. There's no two colours label, which is a ridiculous thing. I've moaned about that enough times before. I was getting the wrong thing there. But I'm going to use my little app here to knock one out of my Brother printer. That's the one.
Did you say you're going to knock one out of your brother?
Something like that. Now, I've changed my phone since I last used this, and it's not working. But Nige found the other day that what I've got to do, because it connects via a direct Wi-Fi connection, what I've apparently got to do is go into my settings and turn off mobile data. That's right, wasn't it, Nige?
Yep.
Because otherwise it tries to print it out over the internet, or with whichever connection has the internet access. So there's a little tipette for you. Because that had me scratching my McHat for a good while on the last site we were on. And there we go, one ridiculously unnecessary label. And you know what, I'm going to print out another one while I'm here, so I can put it in my toolbox as a spare. So if you're having problems printing on one of these things via the Wi-Fi Direct, make sure your mobile data's off, and then afterwards go back in and Turn it back on again. Lovely.
Look at that Christmassy fire.
Does it get your bells jingling, Nige? Is it jingling your bell end?
Not really. You like that fireplace?
Very gothic. Right, we better go out into the cold and take a look at DB1. Where's my sticker with the number 1 on it? Right, we're at DB1, so let's stick a 1 on this fella. Nice orange Juan. There's only a cooker circuit coming off this. We've already done the safe isolation thing and checked that we're clear. So we're going to just take the ZE, which at this point ought to be below the 0.35, because this is the source of the installation. We're right next to the cutout position here. A probe on that. Oh, look at that.
Bang on
the money, eh? Yeah. Stupid fucking colour, 2 colours label. I'm going to stick at the source of the installation. It's just a fucking waste of time, this, isn't it? What do you think, Nige? Yeah, you can have it on there. Oh, fucking good it does. I could go and put one on every board, it would just look like an eyesore. I could put one on the Hager board that has the newer colours on it, it would just look like an eyesore. If I put it on just one board, then if you're working on another board you might miss it. It's all just a load of fucking nonsense anyway. It's all a load of nonsense. It's nonsense, Nigel.
nonsense, David.
It's nonsense. Here's an interesting thing, a white permanent marker pen that I picked up from SRM. Have you ever seen one in white before? I'm going to use my, test it out by using my skills of being able to write backwards to put an insult to Nige on the windscreen here. Nige is a whoosh. Let's see how long it takes the old dick to notice that. Earth the Martian, come in Martian. It's the sandwiching hour, old boy. Come out the front and we'll tootle off. Time to go and get a sandwich.
My walkie-talkie seems to have got stuck in my hole.
Oh yeah, they're a bit of a pain, those belt clips.
I was trying to talk to you, I couldn't fucking lift it up.
I find it better if you clip it to your t-shirt.
Well, I'll have to do it like that. Stuck there now. It's gone through a buttonhole in my little pocket there, I put it in. Let's see if a little screwdriver will be of any aid. Hey, fucking hell. Sticking it in that one, ain't it? He's a whoosh. What's a whoosh?
You just noticed that.
When did you put that up?
About 3 years ago.
Fuck off. Where is it written in?
It's written in my white permanent marker pen. It's quite amazing, isn't it?
What is a whoosh?
It's
And when did you put it there?
let's see if you can get it off. See, you can't
Is
get
it on the outside? Did you write that on the outside? I don't know where a whoosh is. Well, I know what a whoosh.
Whatever it is, it can't be good. Fucking hell. I sprayed in front of your face and you didn't mention anything all the way through that journey.
Where did you just notice it?
That's horrible.
My mind is elsewhere.
Lizzie really wants her plug doing.
Yeah, so we were looking at that.
She's desperate to put a lamp on the dresser, and she thinks it's all cold and horrible. It's such a lovely hallway, and
Well, Nige just
way of getting it.
had the face off and determined that the wire behind is dead.
Right. Okay.
Let's selfie this one, shall we, Hills? And confirm that the wire behind is dead. We think we can see where it's going into the cupboard above.
Okay.
We think it's that one.
Okay.
But we haven't investigated as to why it's dead. If we don't get onto today because we're doing all this running around, we ought to be able to do tomorrow.
Oh, that she'd be delighted.
Can't make any guarantees. There may be a reason why it's been disconnected, or maybe it's just faulty, or
or just not being done. Okay, no, that'd be great. I know that she's keen on that, so that her Saturday soiree is appropriately lit.
How many people have you got coming to this
30 or 40.
soirees? Bloody hell.
40.
I don't know you knew that many people.
I don't choose.
Trying to trace a dead socket here. It's downstairs. The cable is coming up through this airing cupboard and it's disappearing up into here, which I guess is loft space. The question is, how do I get into the loft space to see where it goes from there? Well, this doesn't get much further away, but we've got a loft hatch here. So I peek in. I don't really fancy him to crawl through all the way down the loft if this is the only access. Oh, that's interesting, isn't it? Yet more shoddiness. Looks like this was a vaulted ceiling, and they've put a false ceiling in. Goodness knows when, a long time ago by the looks of it. You just turn on the camera light for what it's worth, it doesn't do much. Fucking hell. I'll tell you what, if you ripped all this shit out and had that as a pointy ceiling, that would be quite amazing, wouldn't it, with a couple of skylights in? Because look at all this wasted space. Look at that, I don't know if you can see it very well, there's all sorts of beams and brickwork over there. They'd be just a fantastic feature of the room. You could really make something of this. I should wonder why someone dumped a false ceiling on here. Oh, fucking hell, let's get in here. What's that? I don't know. Oh well, it's a dead end anyway. Or is it? Oh Jesus, no it's not. No it's not. There we go. I'm not even sure if I can physically get down
Any
there.
chance find a 40 amp breaker for this board?
Hang on a sec. There's one in there, mates, left to the cooker circuit. Wow.
Yes, got it.
I'm going to have to try and traverse this. This is not going to be easy. Oh, Christ. You get into some interesting spaces in this game. I say interesting as in fucking horrific. This ceiling's not going to collapse under me or anything. Well, if it's been here for 400 or 500 years, hopefully it'll last a bit longer. Even with some fat electrician crawling around amongst the filth.
Hi, it's Gaz from GSH Electrical. We're concentrating in this part of the video presentation on what David's going to be doing next. In David's haste, he's forgot some of those key points that he should have made sure were in place. The PPE is near non-existent. David knows in a roof space he should be wearing the appropriate mask in order that any airborne particles don't get breathed in by him. Perhaps we could have also wore a pair of gloves, paper overalls, and maybe even the need for a set of goggles or glasses as well in this part of the presentation. Let's remember our PPE.
There you are.
That cable, it's on the right of that cupboard. As you go in, it's not on the left, it's on the right, you can see it. And it's coming up into the attic.
Right.
I'm just trying to figure out if I can physically get around to that end without killing myself or falling through the ceiling. But I might need you to give it a wiggle or something.
In the cupboard?
Yeah, if you go to the cupboard and see if you can get to it. I can't hear you anymore. We've got some electrics up here on plug tops as well. An old distribution amp. Fuck knows what else.
The sockets at this end.
You in the cupboard?
The sockets at this end are on a flying plug. They're on a plug top, so they don't do anything till plugged in.
No. You in the cupboard?
Just on my way, I'm on my way down.
Fucking hell. Shit, I hope I don't have to get down there. Where are you, Nige?
Wiggling it.
I can hear it, I can't see it. These are obviously the feeds to the boards, these fat cables. We got one cut off here.
Truth, mate. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
It's, you know, to your right, the roof slopes down.
Roger.
Near the bottom of that sloping bit.
I'm obstructed up here. I'm between a water tank and the edge of the roof line.
This will be right into the eaves.
Wires everywhere.
Not way too high to access this. We'll be here.
Shit.
The big old terminal that goes to the board.
Mate, there's fucking woodwork everywhere. There are various pipes coming through the ceiling. Can you guide me via a pipe or anything?
Yeah, you're looking at about 5 foot to the right of that pipe coming up.
I got loads of pipes.
There's one grey plastic one.
Shit. I'm not seeing it. Mind you, a lot of them are lagged. Oh, here's a grey one. What's that doing?
Talk without talking into the walkie-talkie, and I'll know where you are then in relation.
Cocksucker.
It sounds like you're about 10 feet away from it. If you were looking towards the road end of the building, the driveway end, you're about 10 feet to the right of it.
I can't be, mate. I'll be outside the fucking attic if I was that far over.
The attic, as I say, it's at the very bottom of the eaves.
I can see the fat feed cables, the one for the Hager board and the one for the DB2. In fact,
You can see,
look.
can you see this one moving it? This is the one where the meter is.
Right, I know where I am. I'm directly above DB2. So So he's probably...
You need to be 5 or 6 feet to the right.
I can't, I'm obstructed, but I can see a cable which could be coming out from there. I'm going to try and grab it. Where's that going? I reckon that's a candidate. Oh, actually, I wonder if that's the one that's been slung across the attic to feed that single socket in the bedroom. I just can't get past this bit. I don't think I can get far enough in.
The sounds of where your voice is now. You're on the opposite end of the cupboard. In fact, I see your torch here.
Yeah, I see you.
You're about, a good 5 feet towards the other end of the cupboard.
Can you move that cable again?
Yeah.
In fact,
Oh, I see it. It's looping around. It's coming back up to here. It is the one I thought it was, and it's cut. Got it. I got the motherfucker. We can probably send this down into DB2. If you're able to grab the ladder and get the cover off DB2, isolate it, get the cover off DB2, and we'll see if we can work this cable down into there.
just get in the ladder now, so don't try and come out of there.
I wonder who cut that off and why. Obviously before we connect it, we'll do some testing on it, like insulation resistance. Right, I'm going to turn the camera off for a minute while I sort this out, mainly because I'm running out of memory card space. And also it's probably not very interesting watching me lurking around this haunted
Make
attic.
sure I can isolate this, so give me a couple of minutes, yeah?
Roger 1-1. This is the top of DB2 where the main feed and the earth goes in, and there you go, Nigel's got the other end of that. You want to pull a bit more through? Do you want to pull a bit more through?
No.
Well, take some more anyway. Right, I'm going to head back towards the exit. Perfect. Result. Just step my cat. Let's get the hell out of here. Oh, crikey. Fucking hell. What an attic. I tell you what, it's some
Double decker lot.
some interesting features up there that when they revamp they could really show off, because someone's put this false ceiling in, but there's beams and brickwork up there. I could look a bit Poco Mac. But not the most pleasant of spaces to be roaming around in. At least now we can, I don't know why someone would cut that off. We can trim it back, IR it, and if it does the biz, we can get it back in the biz. This hall socket, which is the one that we just crawled through the attic to get to recommission. Tested it, nothing wrong with the cable, passed an IR test. Cores were good, got a decent R1, R2 out of it. The only thing we've done is we've connected it to a spare 15 amp fuse way upstairs on DB2. There's no RCD protection on there, so I've fitted an RCD protected socket. Now you might say, well, why have you bothered? because it's existing cabling. You're just recommissioning an existing socket. You didn't have to go to the effort of fitting an RCD. But I'm treating this as a new circuit. Although the cable is within the fabric of the building, we've recommissioned this circuit in effect, and I'm not really comfortable with commissioning what is effectively a newly working socket outlet without RCD protection, because the regulations require RCD protection. So it depends on which way you look at it. Some people would have gone, well, it's an existing socket on an existing wire, and although you've re-energised it, I would have just left the RCD protection out, whereas others would have gone, well, you should have put RCD protection on that. Why not play it safe? Like I say, I've had an R1, R2 out of it. It's all connected and powered on now, so let's get a ZS no trip. .246 volts. .61, which is about what I expected, because the R1, R2 was 0.2 something, the ZS at DB was 0.4 something, so add them together and you're going to get 0.6 something according to my GCSE maths. So that's about right. 0.61, remember that number, Nige. Let's do our gamut of RCD tests by switching that to auto. It's type AC. It's quite nice when you're testing right next to the thing, isn't it? Because you can just reset it nice and easily.
Shake on here.
You got the DT shakes, Nige?
Seems so.
It's about this time of day where you want to furiously masturbate, isn't it?
It is.
Okay, so what have we got at the moment? 28 is our high at 1 times, 17.5 is our high at 5 times. We should have no trippage at half times, and this tester also goes and does a ramp test, which is giving us 24 milliamps. And on the other side of the waveform, when you're ready, there you go, 24 milliamps again. We've managed to restore power here, which is what they wanted. A bit more of a faff than we expected, because someone had chopped off the cable in the attic, and getting to that cable was a bit of a job. I don't know why it had been chopped off. Like I say, nothing wrong with it. And we're back commissioned, and we'll have a happy customer there. Marvellous. Well, once again, the light has defeated us. It's the end of the day, and we've had 2 days here, haven't we, Nige?
We have had 2 days.
2 days of testing and inspecting, but we know where everything goes now, for the most part.
Yeah.
And we know what condition it's in, and we know, well, we'll know what we can and can't do once the plans start coming in, I guess.
Yep.
So, that was a long video, wasn't it?
It was.
Or maybe it was a long couple of videos if I split them up. I don't know what I'm going to do yet.
If you've made it this far, well done.
Yeah. Sorry, it was probably very boring. And we'll get some more of them in the can as this project moves forward over the coming months and perhaps even years. Unless, of course, we get fucked off and bored with YouTube and decide just not to bother anymore.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's you that get fucked off and bothered, because I don't do shit except for standing in front of the camera or behind.
Quite so. I'm fucked off right now, in fact. Let's go home and knock this day on the head. So long. What a couple of assholes. Aside from a lack of PPE used in the attic, and my thanks to Gaz at GSH Electrical for setting things straight there, what else did we learn about this installation? Well, our EICR reports it as being unsatisfactory, of course. The immediate issues are a lack of gas bonding, poor insulation resistance on lighting, and some tidying up required on some badly fitted accessories. There's a lack of RCD protection on most circuits, of course, too, but eventually I suspect the Denmans and Hager consumer units can be decommissioned completely, with everything then moved onto a new single larger board at the location of the rewirable fuse box, or in the cupboard behind it to keep it out of sight. We now await plans from the client and for whatever planning permission is required to move the refurbishment forward. Hopefully we'll be able to rewire much of it, but this being a grade 2 listed property, we can't just roll in tooled up and start knocking holes in it just yet. Anyway, thanks for watching, and hopefully we'll have more on this project for you in 2020.